Boom. A massive sound echoed through the heavens and earth as a violet gold sun suddenly rose, sending a destructive shockwave rampaging across the landscape, shaking the very foundations of the world. In the distance, Mahayu hovered in midair, his eyes gleaming with cold light as he watched the scene unfold. A sinister smile crept across his lips, for this magnificent explosion was the work of Chen. With the 8-spirit compass in his hand, which allowed him to swap positions and shift reality, Chen had used it to place the terrifying dark golden figure right in front of him. Though the figure's strength was formidable, it had become nothing more than a blade in Chen's grasp. Earlier, Mahayu had once again employed the same trick, teleporting the pursuing dark golden figure right into Chen's path. While Chen had been prepared, escaping was not going to be that simple once the dark golden figure closed in. Even Chen, with his incredible speed, had been forced to self-destruct his immortal golden body when cornered. Chen, though also extremely powerful, found himself forced to make the same choice under the relentless assault of the dark golden figure. The violet gold fireworks raged across the sky, and Chen's blood-soaked form plummeted to the ground, utterly battered. He lay motionless in the crater, his spiritual energy violently convulsing within his body, tearing through his flesh with excruciating pain. He could only lie there, casting a hateful glare toward Mahayu in the distance. However, Mahayu paid no attention to Chen's hateful gaze. With both Chen and Chen now crippled, no one would stand in his way. "Now, it's time for me to act," Mahayu said, his eyes filled with greed as he gazed at the dark golden figure in the sky. Whether or not this dark golden figure was the legendary eternal undying body, the vast immortal origin within it was undeniable. If he could capture it and devour its immortal origin, even if he didn't obtain the eternal undying body, his immortal golden body would still be greatly enhanced, possibly even reaching the terrifying level of the strongest supreme Dharmakaya, one of the primordial law bodies. Roar. As Mahayu locked onto the dark golden figure, the figure itself turned its furious gaze toward him. The previous two prey had chosen to self-destruct, leaving him with nothing. Now, this final one would not escape. The dark golden figure suddenly transformed into a streak of dark golden light, hurtling through the sky straight toward Mahayu. However, this time, Mahayu did not flee. Instead, a twisted grin appeared on his face. He raised his hand, and an ancient, yellowed talisman materialized in his palm, emitting faint but extreme waves of terrifying energy. Upon closer inspection, the talisman bore crimson-red markings, made from refined blood. Given the terrifying energy it radiated, it was clear that this was a sacred blood talisman. The sacred rune talisman, such a waste. Mahayu muttered, his eyes filled with pain as he looked at the talisman in his hand. This was no ordinary object. It was something crafted by the supreme heavenly supreme of his clan, using vast amounts of his own blood essence and spending years engraving it. Within the Mo ancient clan, there were no more than 3 such talismans. Its power rivaled that of a supreme heavenly supreme, but it could only be used once, making it a strategic treasure. But now, to deal with this bizarre dark golden figure, he had no choice but to use it. Mahayu looked up at the rapidly approaching dark golden figure, no longer hesitating. With a flick of his finger, blood began to drip from his hand, falling swiftly onto the ancient talisman. Boom! The blood fell, and the talisman instantly caught fire, burning with a blood-red flame. The flame was strange, almost liquid-like, constantly swirling and churning. Go! Mahayu took a deep breath and shouted in a low voice. The blood-red flame melted through space and, in the blink of an eye, appeared right before the dark golden figure. Though the dark golden figure was seemingly unstoppable, as it saw the blood-red flame, it felt an intense sense of danger. It paused for a moment, then attempted to retreat. However, the blood-red flame was far more eerie than expected. With a flicker, before the dark golden figure could escape, the flame shot into its forehead with the speed of a blood-red lightning strike. The dark golden figure's body froze instantly. Crimson-red markings began to spread across its forehead, but the power within the dark golden figure fought back, attempting to sever the spreading blood-red lines. Yet, the power of the blood-red markings was extraordinary. Despite the intense resistance, they continued to spread, albeit at a slow pace. When it spread to the entire body of the dark golden figure, it would fall under the control of Mahayu. Mahayu's gaze was fiery as he watched the scene unfold. In the end, a smug smile appeared on his face. This time, he would become the greatest winner. In Chen, both of them would taste the bitterness of failure in his hands. Deep within the violet gold world, Mu Chen sat cross-legged in front of the terrifyingly oppressive glazed body, sweat pouring down his body like rain. Although he was currently just a consciousness, the sensation was faithfully transmitted to his physical body. How do I awaken this eternal undying body from its slumber? As he endured the crushing pressure, Mu Chen's face showed a deep frown. He realized he couldn't even get close to the ancient, mysterious glazed body. Right now, he was still about a yard away from the eternal undying body, and even that slight distance was too much. If he advanced any further, the terrifying pressure would slowly crush him. He couldn't even approach it. No matter how much he screamed or shouted, it was all in vain. Mu Chen was in a difficult position. Was he really going to watch the opportunity he had obtained with great difficulty, after even self-detonating his immortal golden body, slip away? Thinking of this, Mu Chen shook his head with a dark expression. He would never allow this to happen. His gaze fixed intensely on the eternal undying body, still shrouded in the glazed light, his mind racing until, at one moment, a flash of inspiration struck him. The Eternal Tower said that in order to awaken the eternal undying body from its slumber, it must be subjected to a powerful shock. Only then can it break free from its dormant state. It said that the 5 primal law bodies were formed when the world first began, ancient and mysterious. They have a mission to protect the world. If there's any shock, it's naturally when the great 1,000 worlds are corrupted that they will feel it strongly. Mu Chen's eyes gleamed with light. After a moment, he took a deep breath, closed his eyes slightly, and focused his consciousness on a certain image. Gradually, he transferred it into the glazed light surrounding the eternal undying body. The image was from his experiences in the lower dimension of the White Dragon Supreme. The Blood Fiend clan had enslaved billions of beings in that dimension, treating them like livestock, draining their blood, and using them as blood thralls, killing them at will. Each time these images flooded Mu Chen's mind, it filled him with boundless rage. As the images entered the glazed light, Mu Chen kept his eyes fixed on the cold glazed body. The eternal undying body's eyes remained tightly closed. The air seemed to freeze in that moment, and time passed slowly. Mu Chen's heart, as time ticked away, sank little by little. Was it still not enough to awaken the eternal undying body? Do I have to force it? A flash of disappointment passed through Mu Chen's eyes, followed by a bitter smile. Just as Mu Chen was gritting his teeth and preparing to try another method, the eternal undying body, which hadn't moved in thousands of years, seemed to tremble slightly. The tremor was extremely subtle, but it was caught by Mu Chen's sharp eyes, and his heart jolted in an instant. It worked. Under Mu Chen's tense and ecstatic gaze, the tremor in the eternal undying body became more apparent. The glazed body began to emanate radiant halos, ancient and profound. A glowing, immortal glazed halo slowly began to form behind the head of the eternal undying body. Hiss. The blood-red markings spread relentlessly, and as time passed, they covered most of the dark golden figure's body. Seeing this, even Mahayu couldn't suppress the wild joy that surged on his face. Everything was going as he had expected. Though the dark golden figure was powerful, it lacked intelligence. So, against this kind of corruption, it was utterly helpless. The blood-red markings continued to spread. After about 10 minutes, they covered every corner of the dark golden figure. At that moment, Mahayu felt an odd connection between him and the dark golden figure. He slowly extended his palm, and at that moment, the dark golden figure slightly lowered its head, allowing Moyu's palm to rest on its head. At this moment, it no longer exuded any malicious aura, appearing more like a puppet under control. Ha 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 ha. In that instant, Moyu could no longer contain the emotions surging within him. He threw his head back and laughed wildly. The legendary eternal undying body had finally fallen into his hands. This time, in the Eternal Tower, he, Moyu, was the true winner. As for Mu Chen, Yiqing, they would be forever trampled underfoot. At the very moment when Moyu was laughing in triumph over controlling the dark golden figure, deep within the violet gold world, under Mu Chen's tense and hopeful gaze, the mysterious eternal undying body, whose glazed eyes had been tightly shut for tens of thousands of years, finally began to open, trembling slightly as they cracked open. In that instant, Mu Chen felt the true aura of immortality. The eternal undying body had finally awakened. As Mohyu's raucous laughter echoed through the Eternal Tower, a wave of astonishment surged outside the tower as well. All the powerful figures watching the dark golden figure fall under Mohyu's control were stunned, their minds shaken. This scene had clearly caught everyone off guard. No one had expected that, Facing the nearly invincible and enigmatic dark golden figure, Mohyu still had a way to counterbalance it. Mohyu really kept his cards close to his chest. But his methods are ruthless. He waited until Mu Chun, Yi Qing, and Tuoba Tsang were all severely wounded before revealing his hand. Heh, the Mo ancient clan has been planning for tens of thousands of years to secure the eternal undying body. There's no way they would let anyone else take it. This method, though cruel, was to be expected. If the eternal undying body falls into the hands of the Mo ancient clan, their strength and prestige will reach their peak. They will undoubtedly become a top force in the great thousand worlds. Whispers filled the air, full of envy. After all, the eternal undying body was one of the 5 primordial law bodies in the great thousand worlds. Now, it had completely fallen under the control of the Mo ancient clan, which would only make them stronger. Qing Yanjing and Fu Tu Xian exchanged a glance, their expressions somber. The Mo ancient clan had already become incredibly powerful, standing at the pinnacle of the 5 great ancient clans. If Mohyu obtained the eternal undying body, he would surely break through to the Saint Grade. At that point, the Mo ancient clan's power would be unimaginable. On the high platform, Mo Tian burst into hearty laughter. Even with his deep composure, he couldn't hold back. Congratulations, clan leader. Behind him, the elders of the Mo ancient clan also offered their congratulations, their faces filled with joy. The Mo ancient clan had guarded the eternal undying body for tens of thousands of years, and now, they had finally shed their role as mere guardians. A smile spread across Mo Tian's face, and he felt a sense of relief in his heart. From now on, the eternal undying body would belong to the Mo ancient clan. Even if the immortal emperor were reborn, he could never take it away. The heavy burden that had weighed on the Mo ancient clan was finally lifted. Within the eternal tower, Mohyu's booming laughter continued for a long while before gradually subsiding. His burning gaze then fixed firmly on the dark golden figure in front of him. The blood-red patterns on the dark golden figure's body flickered incessantly, clearly indicating an internal force that was resisting. Still not willing to give up. Seeing this, Mohyu sneered coldly. He knew that a mere sacred rune talisman wouldn't be enough to fully suppress the dark golden figure. But he wasn't in a hurry. As long as he took it out of the eternal tower, with the help of a saint-grade expert from his clan, it wouldn't be able to put up much of a fight. So, he paid no attention to the resistance within the dark golden figure and cast his slightly cold gaze around. He was searching for traces of Mu Chun. Though Mu Chun had severely wounded himself with the self-destruction of his immortal golden body, he hadn't died. Now, Mohyu intended to track him down. Even if he couldn't kill him, he wanted to completely cripple him. With the eternal undying body now in hand, the Mo ancient clan's strength would increase dramatically, and their fear of the Fu Tu ancient clan would significantly lessen. Earlier, you were jumping around so happily. Let's see how you can escape now that you're in my hands. A cold gleam flickered in Mohyu's eyes. After his previous encounter with Mu Chun, where he lost considerable face, he had no intention of letting Mu Chun off lightly today. Mohyu's body soared into the air, his dark golden figure following his every movement. His mighty spiritual energy spread across the heavens and earth, sweeping over the endless abysses, intending to drag Mu Chun out of hiding. Outside the eternal tower, the various powerful figures watching Mohyu's actions immediately understood his intentions of seeking revenge. They all silently mourned for Mu Chun. Seeing this, Qing Yanjing's face darkened, and a chilling look gathered in her gaze as she stared at Mo Tian. Mo Tian, however, seemed oblivious, his expression indifferent. To him, as long as Mohyu didn't kill Mu Chun, Qing Yanjing wouldn't have much power to stop him. With the eternal undying body now in hand, the Mo ancient clan no longer needed to worry about the Fu Tu ancient clan. I found you, little mouse. Within the eternal tower, Mohyu had only spent a few dozen breaths when his eyes narrowed slightly, locking onto a distant abyss. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his lips. He threw a punch, and a massive beam of light, hundreds of feet long, descended from the sky. Without mercy, it slammed into the abyss. Under the terrifying force, the abyss collapsed instantly, turning into a massive pit. As the dust settled, Mohyu's eyes narrowed as he gazed at the deep pit. Then he saw a figure slowly rise within a halo of spiritual light. That figure was, of course, Chen. He was still covered in blood, looking extremely disheveled, clearly the result of his earlier self-destructive use of the immortal golden body. TSK. How did Mansion Lord Mu end up in such a sorry state? Mohyu looked at Chen with a mocking gaze, a playful smile tugging at his lips. Chen gave Mohyu a glance, then his eyes stopped on the dark golden figure behind him. His expression tightened as he said, "You actually controlled it?" Mohyu casually replied, "The Mo ancient clan has been planning for tens of thousands of years. How could we be unprepared for this?" Chen nodded lightly, a faint smile emerging on his pale face. "It seems I underestimated you. Since that's the case, I need you to do something for me." Mohyu's eyes narrowed. Do something for you? Had this guy blown himself up so badly that he had lost his mind? Chen smiled and pointed at the dark golden figure behind Mohyu. "Give it to me." Mohyu's eyes widened ever so slightly in that instant, and he stared at Chen with a strange expression. Slowly, he said, "Has your brain truly broken?" Chen was severely injured, his immortal golden body had been destroyed, and his combat power had greatly diminished. On the other hand, Mohyu not only preserved his strength but also controlled the dark golden figure. With such a disparity, Chen still dared to ask him for the dark golden figure? Had Chen gone mad? "You want it?" Mohyu stared at Chen, a sinister grin spreading across his face. His eyes flickered as he nodded weirdly. "Then I'll give it to you." He raised his hand and waved lightly. Whoosh! The dark golden figure behind him suddenly shot out like an arrow. The dark golden hand seemed to tear through space, shooting straight for Chen's throat. Chen stared at the dark golden hand piercing through the air. His youthful and handsome face remained unusually calm, his pitch-black eyes like a deep, unmoving abyss, without the slightest ripple. But to the many powerful figures watching outside the Eternal Tower, this expression seemed like Chen had been stunned into a daze. Just as the dark golden hand was about to strike Chen's throat, a translucent, glaze-like hand suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It grabbed the dark golden wrist, stopping it from moving a single inch forward. The mocking smile on Mohyu's face froze at that moment. He stared in shock at Chen's side, where, he didn't know when, a figure enveloped in a glowing, glazed aura had appeared. The figure was shrouded in mystery, impossible to see clearly, yet there was an overwhelming, indescribable pressure that spread from it. Roar! The dark golden figure let out a low growl at this moment. In its dark golden pupils, there seemed to be a trace of fear that appeared, as it struggled frantically, as if trying to escape from the mysterious glazed body before it. Boom! With a slight flick of the glazed palm, the dark golden figure was struck as if hit by a heavy blow, its body flying backward and crashing into the ground. The earth instantly shattered, and a massive pit tens of thousands of feet deep appeared on the surface. Hiss! Outside the Eternal Tower, countless gasps of cold air echoed. They stared at the mysterious glazed body beside Chen, unable to imagine how the invincible dark golden figure, once unstoppable, was now thrown out as if it had no resistance. What is that thing? That glazed figure is terrifying. The dark golden figure was already in invincible existence below the Saint grade. But now, does Chen really have such a hidden trump card? Then why did he self-destruct his immortal golden body earlier? A thunderous whisper spread, and the faces of all the experts were filled with shock and uncertainty. Qing Yinjing and Fu Tuxian both wore expressions of confusion. They clearly had no idea why there was such a terrifying glazed body next to Chen. Meanwhile, on the high platform, Mo Tian, whose face had once been filled with pride, now looked stiff, his expression darkened, and his eyes filled with surprise as he gazed at the glazed body beside Chen. What is that thing? Inside the Eternal Tower, Mohyu stared in disbelief at the giant pit in the ground, his face twitching uncontrollably. The sight before him stirred an overwhelming sense of humiliation and anger, which quickly transformed into violent killing intent. "Kill him!" Mohyu growled lowly, forming a seal with one hand, activating the sacred inscription that bound the dark golden figure. Roar! From the deep pit, a roar erupted as the dark golden figure shot up into the sky. At this moment, the blood-red markings on its body seemed to surge into its dark golden eyes, turning them a bright crimson. Under the forceful activation of the sacred inscription, it suppressed the fear in its heart and fixed its gaze on the glazed body beside Chen. Chen, however, merely glanced calmly at it, then tilted his head and smiled slightly at the mysterious glazed body, speaking softly, "Go, reclaim the immortal origin that belongs to you." You have been silent for tens of thousands of years. Now it's time for the world to know. The eternal undying body, reborn. Roar. The dark golden figure howled toward the heavens, its body covered in blood-red markings, its pupils glowing with blood-red light. Terrifying dark golden waves rippled around it, making even the void tremble in response. A terrifying pressure swept across the area, and below the Saint grade, no one dared to challenge its might. Sensing the overwhelming pressure emanating from the dark golden figure, Mo Yu's face darkened with a fierce expression. To him, the dark golden figure had been caught off guard earlier, suffering a disadvantage, but now, under the forced activation of the sacred rune, it had unleashed all of its power, making it a terrifying opponent. Although I don't know what that glazed body is today, I will cripple this boy. Mo Yu smiled coldly, his thoughts stirring. The dark golden figure immediately shot forward, leaving behind countless afterimages that blurred its true form. Outside the Eternal Tower, many of the experts watching this scene shuddered, realizing that Mo Yu was intent on killing Mu Chen. The dark golden figure was now incredibly powerful, and only someone truly at the Saint grade could suppress it. Mu Chen has really angered Mo Yu this time. However, under the watchful eyes of many, Mu Chen remained calm, his gaze filled with mild surprise as he looked at the dark golden figure. He seemed impressed by the overwhelming pressure it had unleashed. This mutated body must have devoured a tremendous amount of immortal origin from the eternal undying body. No wonder it possesses such power. Despite the terrifying pressure from the dark golden figure, Mu Chen showed no sign of panic. Instead, he nodded gently toward the figure wrapped in the mysterious glazed light beside him. The glazed light flickered slightly before the figure took a slow step forward, standing in front of Mu Chen. Roar. The roar of the dark golden figure echoed through the air as it unleashed a powerful punch. A torrent of dark golden energy surged forward, carrying ancient runes that contained the force of immortal origin. The power was immense. If even a peak immortal grade expert like Mahayu were struck head-on, they would likely suffer a devastating blow or even perish instantly. The dark golden torrent rushed forward with earth-shattering momentum, but the glazed body remained unmoving. Just as the torrent was about to strike, a glazed palm extended, gently guiding the energy. Whoosh! The destructive dark golden torrent fell into the palm, but it immediately transformed from a mighty dragon into a docile lamb. It coiled around the glazed body before shrinking, turning into a golden light that was absorbed into its mouth. What? Mahayu's face changed drastically. He had never expected that such a terrifying assault from the dark golden figure could be so easily neutralized by the mysterious glazed body. How was this possible? Mahayu gritted his teeth and once again urged the dark golden figure to attack. The next moment, the roar echoed again, and countless dark golden threads tore through the sky like a giant dark golden dragon, overwhelming the glazed body. However, facing this earth-shaking assault, the glazed body remained calm. Every time a dark golden torrent came within a few feet of it, it would become gentle and obedient, easily swallowed whole. A strange scene unfolded. No matter how violent the dark golden figure's attack was, once it reached the glazed body, it turned into a light drizzle, dissipating without a trace, never even causing a ripple. Mu Chen watched this without surprise, smiling lightly. After all, the dark golden figure was just a mutated form, and its power stemmed from stealing immortal origin from the eternal undying body. Now that the true master of the immortal origin had appeared, it was hopeless for the dark golden figure to use this power against the glazed body. It was akin to a dog chasing after a bone, with no hope of success. Roar! Roar! The torrents containing immortal origin were devoured by the eternal undying body. The glow around the dark golden figure dimmed, and it let out an enraged roar, its blood-red eyes fixated on the eternal undying body, filled with greed. Though it feared the latter, it knew that if it could devour it, a tremendous transformation would occur, even breaking free from chaos and becoming a living being, free to roam the world. Whoosh! After suffering a major loss earlier, the dark golden figure dared not use the immortal origin as an offensive tool again. Instead, its body suddenly expanded, dark golden light flowing as it transformed into a dark golden giant. Every move exuded an aura of annihilation. The dark golden giant stomped its foot, appearing before the eternal undying body in a ghostly manner. Its fist, containing the power of destruction, swung toward the latter. The punch was simple, but under the weight of absolute power, it made the very heavens tremble. Boom! The dark golden fist slammed toward the eternal undying body, but just as it was about to land, a palm crafted from glazed light extended, gently blocking the punch. Clang! The two collided with the sound of metal ringing out, and the space around them began to collapse violently. Yet, astonishingly, the glazed figure stood unmoved, like an immovable rock. Meanwhile, the dark golden figure was sent flying, crashing through the air for over 10,000 feet. Swish! Just as the dark golden figure regained its footing and was about to roar, the space before it shifted, and the glazed figure appeared again, slamming another palm into its chest. Bang! The entire chest of the dark golden figure caved in, and its body was sent flying once more. Bang! 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 In the next few seconds, the dark golden figure was tossed around like a kickball, flying through the air. Its once massive body, after several light slaps from the glazed figure, had shrunk by more than half. Hiss! Outside the Eternal Tower, countless experts gasped in shock, their faces filled with fear. No one had expected that the terrifying dark golden figure would be rendered so powerless in the hands of the mysterious glazed body. This was a clash of completely different levels. Qing Yanjing and Fu Tuxian stared wide-eyed at the scene, then exchanged looks of shock. Clearly, they couldn't fathom that Mu Chen had such a hidden trump card. What exactly is that glazed body? Both were filled with questions. After all, they were only watching through the spirit mirror, and even a saint-grade heavenly supreme couldn't fully perceive its true nature. On the high platform, all the elders of the Mo ancient clan had grim faces, and in front of them, Mo Tian's expression was as dark as if it were about to rain. His hand gripped the white jade pillar before him, and the entire pillar was covered in fine cracks spreading out. Damn it! How could this happen? Didn't Mo Hu obtain the eternal undying body? How could it be so pathetic? What in the world is that kid's glazed body? Mo Tian's eyes were ice cold. At this moment, even with his deep composure, a low, furious growl erupted in his heart. Boom! Another heavy blow landed, sending the dark golden figure flying. Its body was now riddled with holes, with handprint marks seared into its surface. These handprints glowed with a glazed light, as if they were constantly eroding it, making the dark golden light on its body grow ever fainter. Roar! Sensing the situation within its body, the dark golden figure felt a growing unease. Its pupils suddenly shattered, and the dark golden light began to return. Pfft. A mouthful of blood suddenly sprayed from Mo Hu's mouth, and an expression of horror appeared in his eyes. His gaze was filled with inexplicable fear because, in that brief moment, he sensed that the sacred rune talisman he had planted inside the dark golden figure had shattered. Roar! Breaking free from Mo Hu's control, the dark golden figure regained some of its instincts. It gazed at the eternal undying body before it, a sense of indescribable fear flooding its heart. It was the fear of facing a true superior being. Thus, it let out a terrified roar, no longer daring to engage with the eternal undying body. The moment it would clash, it would flee. Just then, the glazed halo behind the eternal undying body slowly rose and then descended from the sky, directly surrounding the dark golden figure. The glazed light emitted a dazzling glow, and the dark golden figure let out a desperate scream as its body rapidly began to melt under the light. Roar! 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 The shrill howls echoed through the heavens and earth, but it was powerless to stop the process. In just a few dozen breaths, the dark golden figure rapidly shrank, eventually transforming into a dark golden elixir the size of a palm. The elixir was covered in mysterious patterns, containing unimaginable immortal origin. The eternal undying body gently inhaled, and the dark golden elixir was swallowed whole. Boom! As the eternal undying body swallowed the dark golden elixir, thunder suddenly rumbled across the heavens. In the high skies, millions of lightning bolts roared like enraged dragons, and the glazed light around the eternal undying body blazed brightly, illuminating the world. Strands of glazed light hung down around the eternal undying body, and behind its head, the glazed halo radiated with mysterious energy. At that very moment, even the many powerful beings outside the eternal tower felt an indescribable, mysterious pressure emanating from within. Faced with such overwhelming power, even saint-grade experts couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation. Countless strong individuals gazed at the mysterious glazed light, and in that instant, a realization seemed to strike them. Shock appeared in their eyes as they understood. So it was. This mysterious glazed body was one of the 5 original Dharmakayas of the Great Thousand Worlds, the eternal undying body. The dark golden figure earlier was merely a counterfeit. No wonder the dark golden figure had no ability to resist beneath the glazed body. This was the absolute suppression of a genuine item over a counterfeit. Even Qing Yanjing couldn't help but be moved at this moment. Floating Tu Xian beside her even gasped in awe. This Mu Chen, had actually obtained the true glazed body, the genuine eternal undying body. The stone pillar before Mo Tian quietly shattered into dust. His eyes were as cold as knives, staring at the glazed light figure. After a moment, a voice full of suppressed fury and killing intent reached the ears of the many elders behind him, causing them to involuntarily shudder. Send the order down, Mo ancient clan, full battle readiness. His eyes gleamed crimson as he stared at Mu Chen's figure in the spiritual light mirror. A vicious and malicious expression appeared on his face. You little brat, you dare to take something from my Mo ancient clan? Today, even if the Futu ancient clan protects you, I will make you spit it back out, no matter how you got it. Inside the eternal tower, Mohu stared in horror at the sky, his gaze fixed on the eternal undying body that radiated with billions of glazed light. He then turned to where the dark golden figure had vanished, his eyes blank with disbelief. At this moment, he finally understood. The figure before him, glowing with the mysterious glazed light, was the true eternal undying body. The dark golden figure he had previously spent a great deal of effort to control was nothing more than a cheap imitation that had appeared out of nowhere. The realization made Mohu's face twitch in agony. His eyes, bloodshot, stared at the eternal undying body, jealousy bubbling within him, almost tangible in its intensity. How was this possible? How could the eternal undying body end up in the hands of this little brat? Mohu muttered, his eyes blood red, clearly unable to accept the brutal reality that Mu Chen had obtained the eternal undying body. Eternal undying body, my Mo ancient clan has guarded you for tens of thousands of years. Why would you choose an outsider? Mohu screamed angrily and unwillingly at the glazed figure. However, the eternal undying body remained still in response to his roar. The eternal undying body was a peculiar existence, possessing some level of spirituality, but lacking true independent intellect. In its judgment, though Mohu appeared stronger than Mu Chen, he was deemed unworthy to be its master. Mu Chen calmly watched the hysterical Mohu before extending his finger and pointing at him from a distance. His voice was as cold as ice. Take his immortal origin as well. Mohu had not only schemed against him, forcing him to detonate his immortal golden body, but had also tried to strike him when he was weakened. Mu Chen remembered each of these debts clearly. Now that the situation had reversed, Mu Chen had no intention of sparing Mohu. You dare. Upon hearing Mu Chen's words, Mohu's expression changed instantly, his voice rising in fury. Whoosh. But as Mu Chen's voice fell, the eternal undying body took a step forward, causing ripples in space, and its figure appeared right in front of Mohu. Boom. Mohu's face turned ashen, his spiritual energy surging wildly as he retreated violently, pulling back tens of thousands of meters in the blink of an eye. However, the eternal undying body did not pursue him. It merely extended its glaze-like hand and gently reached out toward the retreating Mohu. With that motion, the world seemed to freeze. Mohu, who had been retreating at lightning speed, was now as if trapped in amber, unable to move even an inch. The only thing visible was the terror on his face. The eternal undying body pointed its finger, and behind Mohu, a brilliant purple-gold light gathered. The immortal golden body, no longer under his control, directly materialized. At this moment, Mohu felt true fear for the first time. Boom. The eternal undying body's hand closed, and the immortal golden body behind Mohu cracked, followed by a deafening explosion. The eternal undying body inhaled, and the explosion's immortal origin turned into streams of golden light, all of which it consumed cleanly. Pfft. Mohu's body regained its freedom, but he immediately coughed up a mouthful of blood. His powerful spiritual energy swiftly waned, clearly suffering a severe blow. Mu Chen, you dare destroy my immortal golden body. Mohu roared in fury, his eyes filled with vengeful hatred as he glared at Mu Chen. With the immortal origin of his immortal golden body taken, it was as if his Dharmakaya had been completely destroyed. Without recultivating, he could never form another immortal golden body. This was a fatal blow for him. You made me detonate my immortal golden body. Now that I've destroyed yours, we're even, Mu Chen said with a faint smile. Mohu's eyes nearly popped out from rage, his face contorted in fury. He looked as if he wanted to devour Mu Chen whole. Still not satisfied? Seeing the vicious look on his face, Mu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. He slowly raised his finger again, a faint killing intent swirling in his gaze. What? Do you dare kill me? Mohu's eyes were icy, his voice full of menace. This was the Mo ancient clan's domain, and if Mu Chen truly dared to kill him, it would cause a huge problem. He did not believe that Mu Chen had the guts to do so. Kill him. However, just as Mohu finished speaking, Mu Chen's indifferent voice echoed in the air. The eternal undying body, its glazed eyes filled with a cold light, gazed at Mo Yu from a distance. Ma Hao's scalp instantly tingled, and he stared at Mu Chen in disbelief. Clearly, he hadn't expected the latter to actually dare say he would kill him. Judging by the cold killing intent in his voice, it was obvious that this guy wasn't joking. "You're insane." Ma Hao gritted his teeth, but he didn't dare to linger any longer. He immediately shouted in rage, "I'm withdrawing." The moment the dark golden figure was erased, he sensed that the eternal tower now allowed for a safe exit. As soon as his words left his mouth, the space around him twisted, and the eternal tower quickly pushed his body out. However, just before his figure disappeared, Ma Hao cast a cold glare at Mu Chen, his voice cold and filled with menace. "Mu Chen, don't get too cocky. Even if you have the eternal undying body now, you'll still need the strength to take it away from my moat ancient clan." With that, his figure completely vanished within the eternal tower. Mu Chen coldly watched Ma Hao's disappearing form and sneered. "He sure runs fast." If that guy had stayed any longer, he would have truly considered killing him. After all, now that he had the eternal undying body, even if he spared Ma Hao, the moat ancient clan probably wouldn't let him off easily. If that's the case, then why spare them any face? Mu Chen's gaze flickered, and he suddenly looked down at the distant ground, where Yu Qing's figure lay. Upon noticing Mu Chen's look, Yu Qing forced a bitter smile and said, "I never expected the eternal undying body would fall into your hands." He sighed deeply, his eyes slightly closing. "But it's better than falling into that bastard Ma Hao's hands. Be careful, though. Taking the eternal undying body away isn't as simple as you think." With his words done, he spoke to the void. "I withdraw." Mu Chen nodded slightly towards Yu Qing and said, "Thanks for the reminder. I'll be careful." Yu Qing smiled and said no more. His body was enveloped in spatial fluctuations, and soon, he vanished from the world. With Yu Qing's departure, Mu Chen was left alone inside the eternal tower. At the same time, when Ma Hao and Yu Qing appeared outside the tower, the two spirit power mirrors shattered, cutting off all the happenings within the tower. The shattering of the mirrors left the area outside the eternal tower in complete silence. No one spoke, for they could feel the suffocating aura in the air. The source of this oppressive feeling was none other than the emotionless Ma Hao atop the high platform. Ma Hao glanced at the disheveled Ma Hao, his gaze as cold as ice. Yet, he didn't say a word. Instead, he placed his hands behind his back and gradually closed his eyes. That eerie silence made the atmosphere thick with unease, like the calm before a storm. Everyone knew that Ma Hao would never allow Mu Chen to easily take the eternal undying body from the moat ancient clan, even if Mu Chen was recognized as its master. That was simply impossible. In the distance, Qing Yinjing's eyes flicked towards the closed-eyed Ma Hao. She could naturally sense the turbulent waves hidden beneath his calm. However, her expression didn't change. She merely stared at the ancient stone tower, her jade hand tightening slowly within her sleeve. A fierce and resolute look appeared on her usually gentle face. If Ma Hao dared to do anything to her son, even if it meant a war between the two great ancient clans, she would never back down. Beside her, Fu Xian furrowed his brow. He gazed at Qing Yinjing, who now displayed an expression of determination, and sighed inwardly. With her protective instinct for her son, if Ma Hao dared to harm Mu Chen, she would undoubtedly make him pay. At that point, it would be no small matter. The entire Great Thousand Worlds would tremble in response. However, Qing Yinjing was now the Grand Elder, representing the Futu ancient clan. If Ma Hao disrespected her, he was disrespecting the entire clan. Although the Futu ancient clan had declined over the years, if the moat ancient clan went too far, they would be forced to retaliate. Moreover, the abilities Mu Chen had shown had greatly pleased Fu Xian. He had already recognized Mu Chen as the new clan leader of the Futu ancient clan. Given that, he could never turn a blind eye to what might happen next. Amidst this heavy silence between the two powerful figures, all the experts surrounding the eternal tower felt their scalps tingle. They knew that when Mu Chen stepped out of the tower, a world-shaking battle, or perhaps even a war, would soon follow. This top-tier war will stir up immense waves throughout the entire Great Thousand Worlds. Outside the eternal tower, the atmosphere was tense, a terrifying aura lingering in the air. But inside the tower, Mu Chen saw light gathering before him, eventually transforming into an ancient figure. This was none other than the consciousness of the eternal tower. Congratulations. You will become the new master of the eternal undying body, the figure said, gazing at Mu Chen with a faint smile, its voice ancient and worn. Mu Chen's eyes stirred with deep emotions. He bowed respectfully to the figure, his body trembling slightly, revealing the excitement he could hardly contain. He had worked so long and so hard for this day. Then, the next words from the Eternal Tower piqued Mu Chen's interest even more. However, aside from this, the Immortal Emperor has also prepared a gift for you.